Hi guys, I'm Peter here and this is my room. And in this video I will show you my best APS-C lenses. I know. There are a lot of YouTubers who made videos on this topic, but I would like to tell you my opinion too. I think the APS-C is not dead. Sony released the new FX30 APS-C sized camera, so if you have some older Sony APS-C lenses, you can use them in the future too. Why does anybody pick APS-C? I picked it mainly because of the price. The APS-C lenses are so much cheaper than full-frame ones. You can buy multiple APS-C lenses for the cost of one full-frame lens. APS-C is good for the first camera and later you can use it as a B-cam. Until now, the FX30 is an APS-C beast. You can film in 4K 120 FPS 4:2 chroma sampling. If you are a Sony APS-C user and you want to upgrade, you don't have to sell your lenses, because we have two strong new Sony cameras there which can use APS-C lenses, the FX30 and the A7 IV. A lot of guys change their A7S III to an FX30 because of the overall price and value. What are the best APS-C lenses out there? First, I picked the Sony 18-105 f4 OSS lens. OSS means optical stabilization, which is great if you are at the telephoto end. The 105mm is shaky without the OSS if you use your camera handheld. This is the true versatile lens in the APS-C lineup. I think it's a must-have video-centric lens when you shoot mainly outdoors. It has constant f4 aperture, so when you zoom in and out, the exposure will not change. But the f4 in APS-C is around f6 on full frame, so keep that in mind. This lens is not really good in low light, but the f4 aperture is not always a bad thing, because when you are in a telephoto end, the background starts to blur, and with this f4 aperture, you can easily stick your focus on your target. The other good thing, when you zoom with this lens, it's not extend. So it's perfect for gimbal work, because you don't have to recalibrate your gimbal. This lens is a little bit soft. It's not sharp, but for filmmaking, it's not a problem. I use this lens for making images too, but I never had any issues with the quality. I know. The f4 is not enough for the bokeh. I was thinking like this before, but I use this lens a lot in a telephoto end and you can achieve very nice bokeh. The only downside of this lens is the minimum close focusing distance. I would be happier if you can go closer, but anyway, this lens is not meant for macro kind of stuff. The autofocus is also good, it doesn't lose the target with my A6400. I recommend this lens mostly for filmmaking. If I only have to choose one lens, this is the one, because of the versatility and the optical stabilization. There is the Tamron 17-70 f2.8 VC lens, which is kind of versatile like this lens. But you have f2.8, so it's better in low light and the close focusing distance is so much closer. I heard that lens is not so sharp at the telephoto end, but between 17 and 50 range it's good enough. This lens is pricier than 18-105 f4, but if you don't need that much range, it's maybe a better choice overall. The second lens is the Sony 35mm 1.8 OSS lens. This was my first lens that I bought after the kit lens. I love how much more bokeh this lens has over the kit lens. The 1.8 aperture makes this lens a good low light lens and also has good rounded bokeh. The people's faces are also so much nicer around 50mm focal length. This is why I use this lens for beauty kind of shots. Because of the OSS, you can go shooting handheld. This lens is sharp. Not that sharp like Sigma 16mm 1.4, but I think it's good enough. The autofocus is also good, it doesn't lose the target with my A6400. This lens is a lightweight lens. It's good for traveling or making some shots on the street. The people will not watch you because of the camera size. I use this lens mostly for portraits and detailed shots. You can do amazing B-rolls too, but if you don't have much space, I don't recommend it because the 50mm focal length is too tight in my opinion. The 50mm is most close to the human eye view. So if you want the most realistic look, choose this lens. Overall, this is a lightweight lens and great image quality, and I like this focal length the most for portraits, and I like the OSS too. My last lens is Sigma 16mm f1.4. First I want to talk about the strongest point of this lens, and its aperture. The 1.4 aperture and the wide field of view makes my camera look like a full frame. This bokeh is amazing. The 24mm is my favorite focal length to make B-roll. The APS-C 16mm 1.4 is around 24mm on full frame. Peter Lindgren said that the full frame 24mm G Master is the B-roll king, and I totally agree with him. Terry said that Sigma 16mm 1.4 is the poor man's B-roll king. So if you don't have budget to buy a 24mm G Master, buy the Sigma. This lens is a little bit heavy compared to my other APS-C lenses, but it doesn't bother me at all. It's still a compact kit. The minimum focusing distance is so close, so you can go close to make little things bigger. I love this feature, that's why I fell in love with this lens. It's almost like a macro lens. The Sigma 16mm 1.4 is not optical stabilized lens, so be careful with the shakiness. But I think in wide-angle lenses, the shakiness are not so visible. The lens also has a little rubber gasket to protect from dust and moisture. Overall, this lens is the most fun from all. Good for B-roll and wide-angle portraits, landscape photography and low light. So that was my favorite lens. Please make a comment what is your favorite lens. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I was Peter and this was my room. And see you guys in the next one. Peace.